Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today we have something incredibly special lined up for you. Whether you're sitting for Cambridge Syllabus 0417, 0478, 2210, 9618, or the notoriously rigorous 9626, we are going to completely unlock the secrets to one of the most notoriously tricky parts of the information technology and computer science syllabus, utility software. But listen, we aren't just going to list off a bunch of boring facts today. We are leveling up your answers. Every single paragraph we go through today is going to unlock new insights. We're going to look at this exactly the way a senior Cambridge examiner looks at it, giving you a clear, strategic path to maximizing your marks.
Okay, let's just briefly look at our structure for this session. We're breaking this masterclass down into 4 distinct phases. First, we'll look at the examiner's warning to see where so many students lose completely preventable points. Second, we'll cover the principles of analytical depth. Third, we will unpack the method mark strategy, which is honestly an absolute game changer for your exam strategy. And finally, we will tackle mastering comparative evaluation. So grab your notebooks because we are getting right into it. So before we get into the weeds of utility software, I want to pose this exact question that senior examiners ask themselves every single year. Why do students find multi-stage analysis and method marks so incredibly hard? To understand this, let's look at a real Cambridge computer science past paper question, specifically from an 0417 paper. The question asked students to evaluate the use of a backup utility versus a disk defragmenter for a busy hospital database. Let's look at 2 typical students. We'll call them Alex and Sam. Now, Alex overloads his answer with raw computer science facts. He knows everything about how a defragmenter reorganizes contiguous sectors on a hard drive, but he offers zero analysis of the hospital scenario. Then you have Sam. Sam rushes, Sam completely misses the command word evaluate, and just writes a quick description of a backup. Both of these students fail to secure the top marks, and their papers are just covered in red ink. This is the central challenge we're solving today. To fix what Alex and Sam are doing wrong, we need to enter Section 1, the examiner's warning. To truly succeed and start seeing those green check marks on your mock exams, we have to understand the classic pitfalls that the examiners are actively looking for.
I want to read this direct quote to you, straight from the source, with the authority it really deserves. Examiners report that Section 2.3, Advantages and Disadvantages of Different Types of Utility Software, is one of the most misunderstood areas in information technology. If you've been sitting at your desk, pulling your hair out, struggling with this section, trying to validate the pros and cons of defragmenters, backup utilities, or antivirus programs, you are absolutely not alone. But the strategies we are about to unpack will give you a remarkably clear path forward. Now, before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now.
All right, let's get back to the strategy. By analyzing the data from recent years, the principal examiner reports highlight that there are exactly 3 major fatal mistakes that consistently destroy student marks in this specific area. Just 3. If we can eliminate these 3 mistakes from your answering system right now, you are already miles ahead of the curve.
Let's walk through these mistakes and think back to our students, Alex and Sam. Mistake number 1 is confusing cause and effect. For instance, knowing what a disk formatter does, but confusing its direct action with its secondary effect on system performance. Mistake number 2 is forgetting to check format and presentation. This is what Sam did by rushing. Examiners care deeply about how you present your information, especially when command words dictate the structure. And mistake number 3, which Alex fell victim to, is providing generic answers that are not specific to the context given. I need to pause and firmly emphasize this critical examiner alert. The absolute classic mistake across all Cambridge computer science papers is providing generic answers. To beat this, you must apply the PEAL framework. That stands for point, evidence, explanation, link. If an exam scenario asks about utility software for that busy hospital database, your point is the utility, your evidence is its technical function, your explanation is how it works, and your link, this is the most important part, is explicitly connecting it back to the hospital's need for continuous, uncorrupted patient data. If you just write down the textbook definition without that link, you will get 0 applied marks. You must always link every single point to the given scenario. And that brings us to Section 2, Principles of Analytical Depth. It is time to upgrade your cognitive domain and completely transform the way you write these exam answers. Notice the contrast here on the screen. On the left, we have superficial breadth. This is Alex's old way, just memorizing a massive list of utility software facts without any context. But on the right, we have what the academic benchmarks actually demand, analytical depth. This requires logical, structured, and evidence-based reasoning using that Peel framework we just talked about. We're going to rewrite Alex and Sam's answers live in our heads right now. Instead of Alex just saying, a defragmenter moves files, analytical depth says, by reorganizing fragmented files into contiguous sectors, the hospital's database read speeds are significantly increased, which is critical for accessing emergency patient records. Do you see how those red pen marks instantly transform into green check marks? The examiners don't just want to know that you've memorized what utility software is, they desperately want to see you logically apply it.
This is because the assessment objectives for computer science and information technology target these three distinct cognitive domains. Yes, you absolutely need knowledge and understanding as your baseline, but a huge portion of your grade relies on application and analysis. And to unlock those, you need command word decoding. If the command word is describe, you lean on knowledge. If it's evaluate, like Sam missed earlier, you must provide analysis and a conclusion. If you are only demonstrating knowledge when asked to evaluate, you are leaving 2/3 of your potential marks on the table. You have to show all three to get top marks.
Let's move into Section 3, the method mark strategy, securing marks by process. But listen, before we get into this absolute cheat code of a strategy, stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at Ace the Exams IGCS, to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2, 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to at Ace the Exams IGCS and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions.
All right, let's get into our interactive workshop. How do we reliably demonstrate application and analysis? We use a standardized sequence to secure method marks. These are points awarded simply for showing the correct procedural framework, even if your final conclusion is slightly off. Step 1, identify the key elements of the utility software in the prompt. Step 2, apply the relevant principles. Step 3, execute your analysis with very clear, visible working. Step 4, verify those results. And Step 5, present it all in the appropriate format. Let's do a 60-second data scan challenge right now. Imagine a complex data table showing server downtime before and after installing an automated backup utility. Your job is to extract the core trend. Don't just look at the numbers, identify the principle, execute the analysis, and mentally format your answer using Peel. If you follow this strict, highly rewarded sequence, you are practically forcing the examiner to give you method marks at every single step of the journey. And regarding that final step, presentation, you must adhere to these professional conventions. Let's do a quick find the flaw challenge. Imagine a student writes, "The cleaner program makes the computer faster by deleting bad stuff." Did you catch the flaw? It's losing marks because it lacks correct technical terminology. You must call it an anti-malware utility or a disk cleanup tool, not a cleaner program. When interpreting data or applying practical knowledge about software advantages and disadvantages, you have to use proper headings, appropriate formats, and provide clear annotations. This shows you are treating the subject with the professional rigor that a Cambridge exam demands.
Now, before we hit the hardest section, I want to share a highly effective memory hack to help you with your speed writing. These utility software concepts can be super dry, right? So use a visual story method to encode these characteristics into your brain. Imagine a tiny, incredibly fast librarian frantically reorganizing messy, scattered books on a shelf to remember how a disk defragmenter speeds up read times. Build a visual story. This is part of our time management matrix. If you have these visual stories locked in, when the exam timer starts counting down, you can execute a perfect 30-second speed writing session for your Peel paragraph because the retrieval is instant. It makes surviving a high-pressure exam scenario so much easier.
Welcome to Section 4, Mastering Comparative Evaluation. This is what we call the final boss of assessment. If you want that A-star, this is exactly how you get it.
Let's break down this cognitive climb using our complete computer science answering system. At the bottom, we have the descriptive level, just stating basic facts and features of the software. Moving up, we hit analytical, interpreting how the software interacts with the system data. But at the very top, to secure the absolute maximum marks, your answer must be evaluative. This brings together our 3 rules that guarantee top marks. Rule 1, command word decoding tells us we need to evaluate. Rule 2, the Peel framework gives us the structure. And Rule 3, the time management matrix ensures we leave enough time at the end of the exam to actually compare different approaches and actively justify our recommendations based on evidence.
Comparative analysis is strictly defined as identifying similarities and differences, using comparative connectives, supporting each with evidence, and drawing conclusions about relative importance. Just listing differences side by side like a basic table isn't enough for the top grade. You have to use connectives like whereas, conversely, or in comparison, and you must back every single claim up with hard evidence from the scenario. If you're comparing a compiler and an interpreter, you don't just say one is fast and one is slow. You explain why, using the comparative connectives to weave your evidence together into a cohesive, undeniable argument.
And truly evaluating that evidence means you have to interrogate it like a professional analyst. You need to identify the limitations of a specific utility software in the given scenario, spot any assumptions being made about the user's needs, consider alternative software interpretations, and finally, analyze how all of these factors affect your final conclusion. This is the exact analytical depth the examiners are begging to see. Listen, students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. So here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to acetheexams_IGCSE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by.
We've covered the pitfalls, the method marks, the Peel framework, and the evaluative climb. So I want to leave you with a challenge for your very next study session. When you sit down to practice, ask yourself, will your next answer be just generic facts like Alex used to write, or will it be a structured, evidence-based evaluation? The choice and the marks that come with it are entirely in your hands. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here.